By deciding to become serious about anti-imperialism, we've also decided to take on the costs that come with this path. Because in the long term, we're going to become the biggest political targets of the state. We represent the cause that is the biggest threat to the Democratic Party's control over radical spaces, and thereby the thing that can make class struggle a relevant factor in American politics again. In retaliation, the state is going to increasingly target us. We've been seeing this since the start of the Ukraine war last year. The African People's Socialist Party was raided by the FBI last year in retaliation for its speaking out on Ukraine. It was then indicted, in terms of its top members, by the DOJ for supposed Russian conspiracy activities. Last year, the Party of Communist USA was infiltrated and had its social media and website hacked and replaced with slanderous statements on a document, clearly partly in retaliation for its own principled anti-imperialist statements and activities. The more intense the situation gets, the more the class struggle escalates, the more of these incidents we're going to see. The more we're going to see these organizations, as well as the individuals who are anti-imperialist, get smeared, get falsely accused of crimes, get targeted in potentially more alarming ways, such as harassment. The commentator Alexander Finnegan has been harassed and stalked by InfraGard since he spoke out on Ukraine last year. The feds retaliated against him and his family by systematically harassing, stalking, psychologically terrorizing him. And this is one of the tactics that people are increasingly going to be subjected to. Those who doubt us, those who seek to demoralize us, are trying to get us to stop what we're doing with the implicit threat that if we continue, the worst is going to happen to us. They're trying to grind us down, to get us to give up, and one of their arguments is that you need to stop speaking out so much on NATO, stop speaking out so much on the war against Russia, speaking out against American militarism, because if you do, you're just going to get targeted more, and we need to compromise on this, supposedly. We cannot compromise on anti-imperialism. We cannot compromise on the struggle against the war machine. Because if we minimize the importance of anti-imperialism, we're going to cede control to the Democratic Party indefinitely and allow the reformists, the opportunists, the liberals, these Philistines and scandal mongers, as Stalin called them, to continue to define, to steer radical spaces. We cannot let that happen. We cannot let their demoralizing statements get to us. And what we need to do is prepare our organizations, our cadres, for a scenario where the repression has intensified. The present situation that we're dealing with, where political smears are the main tactic that our enemies use against us, is, you could say, the first layer in the counterinsurgency. Once we've sufficiently overcome this layer, we're going to be increasingly targeted with intensified repression. And after then, according to the U.S. military documents I've been studying, they could go so far as to impose a domestic version of the Baghdad counterinsurgency from 2003. That will be a lot for us to handle, to say the least. We need to prepare our cadres. We need to prepare our organizations. We need to embrace more security measures. Threema is a good app to come to when it comes to this. And most of all, we can't let the psychological manipulations that they're directing towards us get to us. We must continue with our fight, no matter how much they try to intimidate and harass us. Continue the struggle.